towards Odegaard. Ravel, ambitious, but brilliant! I don't believe it! I swear I do not believe it! And they are back on terms!
Hello and welcome to a special episode of New York Talk. This is the Rotherham United podcast and we're live from the New York Stadium. We'll introduce who we have first, because this is... First of all, shall I say that this might go wrong? Might not be to hear us. Any problems, let us know. Hopefully it goes well. We've got Danny, doing right.
Hello, how you doing?
Not bad, mate. Benjamin.
Hello.
And Mick.
Hello.
How excited are you to be here in New York Stadium?
I'm happy about what's over your shoulder, mate. That's what I'm happy about.
We'll come on to that.
Yeah.
So on tonight's show, we're going to have a quick 10 minutes talking about recent transfer rumours or non-rumours. We're going to hear from Hull and Back podcast about Tom Eaves. They've given us loads of information about Tom Eaves. We're going to hear from the Doggers Saints podcast, which is one of my favourite podcast names. Glorious name. And we're going to talk about where we are in the pop-up exhibition at New York Stadium as well. We're going to start with the rumours that's floating around. We talked about on Sunday, Mick, Ben Wiles to Burnley. Paul Warren said something along the lines of there's nothing substantial. So he didn't say there was no bids. He said there was nothing substantial. The rumour is, again, 3 mil there needs to be the cash on the table. Where are you standing?
I've not changed my mind from Sunday, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, it was a rumour that was started by what would appear to be some sort of dodgy account, because the more you look into that account, well, he claims to be a journalist who'd been covering Bournemouth FC. He was a Burnley supporter, and his profile picture was, is it Joe Cran from the Sheffield Star?
Were it really?
Yes, it was. And the background to his profile picture was Sheffield Wednesday's ground. So, I mean, you can draw your own conclusions from that. It sounds dead genuine to me, I'll be honest.
Okay. Danny, again, Paul Warren didn't deny there's been interest. And I think that's important. Paul Warren is very careful about what he says. He doesn't lie, but he's very careful about what he says. So I from that there is interest, but he's nowhere near the valuation yet.
Yeah, I think the same, to be fair. I mean, they put in the article, it might have been a substantial bid. It's not been a substantial bid, should I say, which means there may have been a bid on the table, but it could have come from Sheffield United and they could have offered peanuts. So they've just gone, no, we give us more money. But if Burnley are willing to pay 4 or 5 million for Scott Twine, we need to ask at least the same for Ben Wiles, in my opinion. Warren has also said that his plans do involve Ben Wiles for next season, so that could up the fee even more.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be a good move for the kids. I say a kid, he's just older than me. It would be a good move for him to further his career, but we are in the driving seat with any deal because we can command whatever fee that we want. And just so everybody is safe in the knowledge that he was at the training ground today. And can I just say, Benjamin, your car is absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Ben, what are your thoughts on Ben?
I don't think he'll go to Burnley. I think if the offer's from Burnley, I think it doesn't make sense. I don't think
Go on, why does it make sense?
It doesn't make sense.
Why?
Because they've signed Scott Twine.
And this other kid from Oxford.
Yeah, McNally.
Another kid from Oxford. So it doesn't make sense. I don't want him to go.
Is that it?
You just don't want him
I just don't want him to go.
The hot take from Ben, ladies and gentlemen.
I think that's fair. I think that's probably sealed it then, Ben, to be honest.
We won't go then now, will
I can definitely say that the Ben Wiles move to Burnley, Ben does not recommend it.
Yeah, absolutely. We all hope he stays. But what I'm impressed with, particularly, Mick, is that Paul Warren's exact quote was it'd be a club record fee if he went. Us as a club have got grief in the past by selling players for not enough money.
Yeah.
And we're not standing for this time. If he wants to go, they pay him at least what his value is.
Absolutely. And we said this a couple of podcasts ago, didn't we? You know, if you want him, if you want Chio, you know, if Swansea want to come in and make a bid for Chio, don't come with 3 bars of Freddos. You know what I mean? It's not happening. That's what would have happened under the old regime many, many years ago. It won't happen again. Not with Tony Stewart in charge. He's a man who likes to get value for money, I imagine. Exactly. So yeah, it's going to have to be a proper offer, and like we already said, Scott Twine or whatever his name is. Is it Scott Twine?
Plastic man.
Plastic man.
Why are you so dismissive of one of the best player in League One?
Because he weren't best player in League One, were he? He had a good season. He did really well. He scored a lot of goals, in my opinion, for what it's worth, which is nothing. Listen, Ben Wiles is as good a player as Scott Twine. I'll put it out there.
Don't disagree. The other news or non-news, Danny, is Colin Brammell. The transfer he was triggered about, it feels like about 3 years ago. Still nothing confirmed by anybody. Is it time to get worried? Do you think it's just how transfers can work?
I think with the whole Colin Brammell saga, it's turned into a bit like Star Wars, isn't it, that saga? But yeah, from what I know and I've been told and stuff, it is still happening. They're just ironing out everything. I think there's a few more loops to jump through when you actually trigger someone's release clause in the contract. So that might be why it's dragging on a little bit. But yeah, I wouldn't be worried. He is due his medical this week, as far as I've been told. I didn't see him at the training ground yesterday or today, so before anyone asks that question. But yeah, I think it will happen. I mean, it's got some weight to it that it appeared on Sky Sports, which I think is our only transfer to have appeared on Sky Sports before we actually heard about it. Yeah. But yeah, I'm quite confident we'll get it over the line, but it's just taking longer than initially thought, I think, which I'm not worried personally about it. I can understand why some people might be worried, but yeah, should be right.
Yeah. Ben, it's just a sign trying to get a good deal in it, to be fair. It's got to be a good deal all round. You can't just say, what do you want? Yeah, here you go. It's got to be a negotiation. It's got to be right for the club.
Both clubs have got to be happy with it, otherwise.
Well, yeah, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, what were you saying?
We've activated their release clause.
Yeah.
League could have a say in it.
I mean, both parties with Colin Brammell, wanting to be happy with, because it is obviously like people like to say like he's a career and wants to play for Rotherham, but there's a personal side to it. So maybe he's just trying to find a school or something. Do you know what I mean? There's personal sides to it. Obviously, I'm not a professional footballer, so I don't know how it works.
Not yet.
Well, yeah.
Well, not an association footballer.
Yeah.
Not a real footballer.
Yeah, okay. One more question.
Can't remember anymore.
Yeah.
What do you expect?
What, from Colin Brammell?
No, I'm not going to ask you what you expect. I don't think you know what to expect from Rotherham players. That might be a new one.
No.
Danny, can you update us on any transfer rumours? It's been pretty quiet, to be honest, from my side, from what I've seen and heard. There's a few names popping up here and there. Anything substantial that you've heard?
Couple rumours, potentially Joe Ironside, but I don't know how much weight that's got to it. That would be quite cool for me because his granddad was Rotherham's goalkeeper back in the 60s, so he has got the family connection. In terms of other transfers, no, it's gone quite quiet. We were linked to Conor McGrandles, but he's gone to Charlton.
Yeah.
And yeah, the loan market hasn't really kicked into full force yet, so I'm sure we'll explore that when the time comes. But yeah, in terms of free transfers or paying fees or anything, it's really Colin Brammell, and that's your lot at the minute.
Yeah. No, it is. Right, what we'll do is we will hear about some new players we've signed. Ooh. We're going to get the lowdown on them. We will go first. Who do you want to go for first, Mick? Would you like to hear out Jamie McCart or Tom Eaves?
Tom Eaves, I think, first.
Yeah.
Let's
so we'll go
Tom
for
Eaves.
the Hull and Back podcast. Have sent us some details. So here we go, boys and girls. Podcast. I was going to tell us all about Tom Eaves. Thank you for joining us, Ant.
No worries. Thanks for having me on.
Cheers, mate. I appreciate you doing this. So Tom Eaves, we started before you started talking. We're recording. You said there's a cult hero, a bit of a cult hero at Hull. Why is that? First of all.
I don't know. Do you know when you ironically attach yourself to a player as a fan? Like he's not the greatest, he's not the best, but something about him just makes you love him. That he's that sort of player for us. Like we signed him, I think it was 3 years ago, in our last championship stint before we got relegated under McCann. And he came to us with a lot of promise because he scored like 40 odd goals in 2 seasons for Gillingham. So we're like, we've got a big guy who's good in the air. We didn't really see any of that goal return when he came to us. And then when we got relegated, we thought, we're going to see the best out of him now because this is League One. This is where he scored his goals. And again, he didn't quite get there. And then we came back up and still similar goal return to his games. I think he's not scored more than 5 for us in a season. But it's just his willingness to try. I don't know. It's something. It's like a pity love. I don't know. It's weird.
Okay, we'll have a hard work.
I don't feel you. I don't feel you with too much optimism, maybe, but you'll love him. You will.
Yeah, if you run hard, we like you at Rotherham. We've turned some good runners into some decent players. Hopefully, we can do that with him. Having said that, the stream may be a strange question. What is his strengths? Is he a hold up player? Can he hold the ball up, or is he something else?
Initially, I didn't think he was that great at holding the ball up, but in the last year or so, he's really improved that side of his game. See, because to me, I say obviously about like his lack of goals and stuff, but I don't think we've ever played to his strengths. Now, if you ask any of the Gillingham fans, they will tell you that he was phenomenal. And I think that's because he had a strike partner alongside him. We never played that system. We never played with two strikers. He was always the lone man. And it's too much for a guy his size to be doing that kind of pressing and that kind of movement. Like he tried, he would do it. But he would often find himself like on the wing, and you want your big 6'4", 6'5" guy in the box. You don't want him whipping it in, do you? So, you know, we never really crossed the ball in. We always played with like inside forwards who would like rather cut in and shoot rather than stick the ball in the air. And I did notice, like, from one of the first interviews that he did when he signed for you guys, was they're going to be putting the ball in the box. And that's something I think that us as fans, you know, when he was with us, we wanted it to happen, but he just never did. I mean, the guy's colossal. He's great in the air, and we just don't put it in the air. So how's he going to score?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, fair play on that one.
Is he wasteful? We get a lot of Michael Smith last time in the Championship had a lot of chances where he just didn't finish him, and then League One last year he just sort of caught fire. Is he when he gets his chance? You know, does he take it, or does he need 3 or 4 chances to bury him?
He didn't actually have that many chances per game for us. Yeah, we in League One we created a fair. Obviously, we won the title. We created a fair few chances, but he wasn't playing. We had Josh McGuinness as the striker when we was in League One. So Eaves was more of a off the bench kind of player. But in the Championship, like last season, we really struggled to score goals, and we really struggled to create goals. So you know, he got 5 goals in, I think it's 30, late 20, early 30 odd games or something, and probably this conversion rate probably wasn't that bad because we didn't really have that many shots per game. So, but I mean, like I say, he's snatching at chances with his feet, maybe because I think his quality is more on his head. But he's when he's put his chances away, they are tidy finishes. So I imagine if he had, you know, 2 or 3 games, he'll be okay. I don't know what quality Rotherham have got in the side this year, whether or not they're going to create that many chances for him. But I wouldn't be pinning survival hopes on Eaves, unfortunately.
Yeah, it certainly helped. Certainly helped. He's got a hat-trick against us, though, didn't he?
He did. He did. One of the very rare highlights of his Hull City career was that hat-trick at your ground. You know, but that was I think he scored 2 headers that game. So it just shows you done it. You know, when you put the ball in the air, he does the job. But like I said, we didn't do that. So if you guys do, you might see the Gillingham version of Tom Eaves.
Yeah, I hope so. Because we are. We when Will Grigg came to last year, one of the first things he said in his interview was, "I know how many chances they create," and that's one of the reasons I chose to come to here. So hopefully, we can do that. Was it when his contract ended? Was it when Hull were never going to offer him a new contract, or was the talk that he could have stayed? I know you've got bigger targets this summer, haven't you?
I think realistically, he was never going to be a part of the new era's plans. I think the fans would have quite happily seen him be here another year. I know he wouldn't have started; he would have been a bench player, if at most, probably. And you know, but as I've said on my podcast before, we didn't really want him to stay and be a bench player. We want to see him go to another club and actually play football and enjoy himself again, because he's such a top lad. Like, if you listen to his interviews and that, he's a proper scout. He's a bit of a joker and everything. So he is a laugh, and you can't just want the best for him. So if that meant that he had to leave us, and we did think he would probably go to League One, so I'm quite surprised he got a Championship move. But he does need to find like his groove again, and that wouldn't have been here. It wouldn't have been the best for him.
No, Danny, if you have anything you want to pop over.
It's interesting you point out with the reason why he not struggled with you guys, but didn't get his Gillingham level of goals is because of him not getting the on his head chances, if you like. I have had a look at his goals for you guys. I think he got 18 total, I think, and at least 50% of them are headed goals. And then the odd outside of the box strike. I tell you what, he can generate power on his right boot from absolutely nothing. So do you think he would benefit from our system of wing backs, you know, the ones who run the channels and get the ball into the box? Do you think that's something he'd benefit from with us?
Definitely, because when we had our best periods of last season, it's when we switched to a 3 at the back system. So we had the wing backs. We had a good run. Like come around January, Tom Eaves was probably our best player. You know, he was playing alongside. This is before obviously Grant McCann was sacked. He was playing alongside Keane Lewis Potter up top. He loved having that strike partner. We'd been wanting to see this version of Eaves where he plays alongside somebody and we see the best from him. And obviously we had natural-footed wing-backs like Brandon Fleming on the left. Rather than having Keane Lewis Potter who cut in, we actually had players who were on their natural foot, were able to put the ball in the box. And you started to see better from Tom Eaves. And this is why I think, you know, in terms of Tom Eaves at Hull City, he'll probably always look back at us and go, why didn't we play that way more? Because from January to February, before he got injured, which was really unlucky, he was definitely one of our best players and definitely in running for player of the month that month. So I think if you're going to be the sort of side that employs wing backs and has a strike partner alongside him that he can knock balls down to, then yeah, you'll definitely see the best version of him.
Brilliant.
I like it. You made me feel better, to be honest with you, because obviously we get a lot of people suggesting bad things about Tom Eaves because you look at his goal scoring record and people go, oh, well, crap. But sometimes it's more about that. Again, I bring up Michael Smith again. That's what we found Michael Smith to start with. It wasn't about his goals at all. So hopefully Tom Eaves can do the same for us.
It can be a bit clumsy. You know, I mean, he's a striker. He's a big striker as well. He can be a bit clumsy when he's trying to win the ball back and whatnot. And you know, he's going to have quite a lot of fans that were probably say he was one of the worst strikers that they've ever seen in the City shirt. But the more sensible amongst us can appreciate what, you know, his skill set was, what his limits were, and we didn't really ever play to his strengths, like I said, and it was quite a harsh career for him to be with us because we signed him. We kept signing really tall strikers. It was really bizarre because we were never crossing the ball. I think when McCann first came in, we signed 3 strikers that were 6'3" and above, so it didn't really make sense. But like, you can't ever fault his endeavour. He will work hard. He's a very honest player, and he'll give it 100% every single game. And I think if he starts every game for you, and gets a consistent run of games, which he never really had with us, you'll probably see a revigorated Tom Eaves, and hopefully he hits the ground running for you. Yeah,
hopefully so. Thank you very much for this, Ant. Hopefully we'll speak to you later on in the season as well when we play each other.
Your game, yours, one of my definites for attending this year. I love a Rotherham away game. I've been told about something about a canal boat or something that you can drink on or something like that. I'm gonna have a look at that.
I haven't heard about that. I'll have to
that
as well.
Shore and View mentioned it, so I'll have to give him a message and find out where it is.
Like it.
Right, so now I'm joined by Jamie Noble, Head of Community here at the Sports Trust, and one of the brains behind the exhibition. Jamie, tell us a bit about the exhibition.
So the purpose of the exhibition is really to, when we're having the Women's Euro starting next week here at New York, and we're obviously having visitors from France, Italy, Belgium, Iceland, and it's to tell them a little bit about why you're at Rotherham United, why you're at the New York Stadium, a bit about the history. But also something that we've wanted to do as a club for a long time, to celebrate the club. We were just talking before, weren't we, that we don't really big ourselves up enough, and really we should, because it's a great club to be involved with.
Absolutely, and I mean, we don't really give a sense of credit. The way we have achieved quite a lot as a football club, not as much as some of the big boys up the roads, but we should be proud of it, shouldn't we?
Yeah, you know, we're living it now. The 10 years, you know, when we've looked back at the history of Rotherham United, you know, the whole coming up to 100 years, aren't we, of Rotherham United? You know, there's been as much happened in the last 10 years as there has been for the last, 50, 60 years, So me and Tony Stewart were talking about it today, and we were saying, like, we're living that moment now, which is amazing to be a part of, both, for me as an employee, but hopefully you as fans,
Yeah, like I said, we live in history. Now, when you first come into the exhibition, you are greeted with this absolutely fantastic mural of everything, really, that's happened. Do you want to talk us through a few things on here?
Yeah, so it was done by one of our young producers. So as part of the project, we had to take on 5 young people between the ages of 16 and 25, all local, couple of artists who still go to school and college, a couple of freelancers. And Ross, this is like his baby, really. He came up with the concept. He's an art student up at Rotherham College. And yeah, he wanted to do a mural, and we just felt it was appropriate that it's the first thing that you see as you walk in. So a sort of 17-year-old young man, he's going to go far in life. He's got his own sort of clothing range that you'll see in a second what else he does. But yeah, it's really cool. So we've had loads of positive comments anyway about it. Tony liked it. He took a photo and sent it to Richard Stewart and his brother and everything. So he was chuffed with it.
Brilliant. I mean, on this, you've got everything. You've got some things from the Ronnie Moore era, Big Tony and Warney at Wembley. We've got some stuff from the women's team as well, which is fantastic to see. You've got Georgie Kelly, who has definitely had his 15 minutes of fame and a bit more.
Made it already.
Exactly. But you've also got this character in the top right, which we'll find out a little bit more about him in a little bit. But Arthur Wharton, first black professional footballer.
Yeah, it's a great thing that Rotherham could be connected to. We've worked with the Arthur Wharton Foundation on this project, and going forward, we will do more. We do a lot around rights of those from minority ethnic communities, and this is a great story that we can use as a catalyst to spark the conversation, which is really important.
Absolutely. Right, Jamie, do you want to lead on and we'll have a look round?
Yes.
Follow me, Mick the cameraman.
So yeah, as you come into sort of the main area, you've got different player profiles that you'll see that are on the outside of the windows. Now we want to do that rather than on the inside. But yeah, we've got obviously the introduction. There's little things that we've wanted to recreate. We felt it was really important that we displayed the Derek Dalton clock. I know a lot of fans felt very passionate about it, and he was an amazing fan for us. So whilst it's sadly not the original, we wanted to, in our way, sort of mark that that piece of history of the club. And then obviously we've got one of the first shirts framed there, so people can have a sneak preview of it. I know it's in the shop, but it's nice to have in here as well.
Absolutely.
Sell a few more, that'll be better.
Absolutely. The print in person does look very, very good with all the stadium images. That is really good.
I love it. I really like I know there's been a bit of few comments about the collar or lack of and the black, but I really like it. I think it's a really nice addition to the portfolio, if you like, that we've had over the last 10 years. So I think we've got it spot on.
Brilliant. Right, lead the way.
Yeah. There's loads of little games. We have activity packs for kids and everything like that. So I think the main bit is the history of Rotherham United, which is we've worked with the supporters club and the historians and lots of people really, and picked out obviously we can't pick everything out. There's only so much space, but yeah, we've picked out the key moments that people felt was important to celebrate and to share. You've also got a little bit around women's history in football and sport, and sort of key things that allowed women to be in a European tournament at the New York Stadium. And then obviously Black and Asian football history. We've had Arthur being the first black professional. We've had Cristol being the first as well to be signed here at Rotherham United. So we've had some really important moments really. So yeah, that's something that people can come and hopefully learn a little bit. And like I say, we've got activity packs as well for the kids. So we've tried to keep it as interactive.
One that sticks out to me is 1891, the first penalty kick. That is, as people know on the podcast, I like my sports history, but I had no idea Rotherham Town are reportedly the first side to ever score a penalty kick.
Yeah, so
that there you go. I've learned something today.
Gary Gray gave us that one, so story. So yeah, there's some brilliant things, and I'm really interested in how Rotherham United was Rotherham FC, Rotherham Town, Thornhill United, Thornhill FC. I think that's really important. And Tony and I were talking as well today about when Rotherham started to wear red and white, originally or the yellow in the Thornhill days. So yeah, just really, really nice to be involved in it.
Yeah, speaking of sports history, next one just here we've got mascots and shirts and all sorts going on in this one.
So this is a bit of club history. So we found a book that was the minutes booked from board meetings and stuff, which that handwriting is phenomenal. But yeah, so that was really cool to sort of have a read of it, find out a little bit about what sort of went on in the in the 70s. We found a mascot head from sadly, with Millmoor, we didn't know that we were never going to play there again. So there was a lot of artifacts and things that got left there. So a lot of it's what people have got in their house, literally a seat from Millmoor, which is again really cool. So a gentleman called Barry, who's donated quite a bit of things, he just happened to have a couple in his garage. Very proud of him, and he was, and he's donated. That's actually. Burglar Mill. So we've actually got that mask as well, but we couldn't fit it in.
Worth pointing out, you can't actually sit on this Millmoor seat as much as everybody'd like to. It is very fragile by the looks of it, and it does say do not touch. So unfortunately, Millers fans, you can't go back and sit in the seat if you were in 026, but it's just nice to look at, and it's just memories, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And then we've got, behind us, obviously, it's the first time we've been able to display the Papa John's, because fortunately we didn't have a cabinet big enough for it, because it's the biggest trophy in the Football League. So,
is it really?
Yeah. So, the cabinet, we actually have one bigger. So we've had it as a bit of a touring trip, so to speak, but it's the actual original one as well, so we've also very mindful of it. Everything, and then down on the bottom it's every year I put a shirt for the squad, so that's shirts that we had left over from John's final, actually, that they all signed up after we won it, so it's nice to keep things like that on shirt every year, being here at New York.
Brilliant. Now we are going to come back round to Mick and Ben and ask them what their favourite bit of the exhibition is. So Mick, if you want to do a 180, and we'll head back round that way, round to where all the nice shirts are. So Ben, what's your favourite bit of the exhibition so far?
Well, my favourite bit actually is the Papa John's trophy. That's one of the first cup that we've won in my life.
I think it's everybody's favourite from this season, isn't it? Right then, we'll go to Matt next, who is stood down this way. Yeah, there are lots of other things that you can have a look at. We won't spoil everything for you. So yeah, Matt, what is your favourite part of the exhibition?
Mine is this one with all the stuff of all the so successful ones, the Cup final, the Autumn Shield, all the signed footballs from Thames, from more trophies. Little trophy from the 45, 46. It's the war trophy.
Yeah, that's one of the last war trophies to be produced. Well, that's my favourite, by the way. It's like the Holy Grail. It's not the really posh trophies that matter. It's that little stone one in the corner.
Yeah, and then that's obviously got the League One Result trophy here. And just memories of 81. That's one of the famous teams that I don't remember, but it's just about the history of the night. I think it's great.
Yeah, it is fantastic. Right, we'll bring Jamie back in one more time to talk about one of probably the centerpieces of the exhibition, which is the Arthur Wharton display that has been very kindly donated by his foundation. Is that right?
Yeah, sure. He died. That's where he's based. Down to support us, and he came down this week. Sort of surprised of one or two artifacts that we're very proud of. Display it. So when he saw moving, obviously we wanted to get involved. So we're very fortunate that we've got one of the 7 trophies that of Arthur's statue. That's obviously the full size ones, basically St Johnstone, Park, Wharton. And I always make sure when I go down there that I walk up the drive and go and see it, because it just makes you think really a little bit about how far we've come since he signed for Rotherham United, and the fact that we were so keen that he gave him that first professional contract, and then actually his great, don't quote me on this, great granddaughter maybe She lives not half a mile away from the stadium. She actually reached out to Sean and said, "I've got my great granddad's Bible." So again, that's never been on display. It's never been sort of publicly shown. So again, that's really, it's really touching that they felt, so comfortable letting us display it. And then we've got this fantastic picture that we were sort of talking. I don't know what to call it, whether it is a picture or if it's an ornament. It's that amazing. But again, it's plaque, that's been sculpted to represent Arthur and his life. And you've got certain features like we've noticed the windmill up here, which is obviously his time at Rotherham United. Got the sword from his time at Brammell Lane. You've got the Ghanaian. I believe these are like Ghanaian gods. But there's something, the detail is unbelievable. I think you noticed the Ghanaian flag sort of draped around. He obviously was the fastest man in the world at one point, runner. So there's bits about his life everywhere. Every time I look at it, I kind of finding something else. I've never noticed this all here. So, we have got a bit more information on it, which we're gonna, we just need to get ready and get up on the wall tomorrow. So, yeah, fantastic about that.
Yeah, we were racking our brains before the podcast to try and find little bits. And like you say, every time you look at it, you find something new. For example, this is the England flag because he came from Ghana to England. So they've got the St George's Cross, and we've said the little windmill in the top right for the Millers. There's references to his time in the northeast, and the shirt he's wearing is a Darlington shirt, which I believe he went to after his second stint with Rotherham Town, if I remember rightly. So yeah, we won't spoil anything else because, of course, you do want people to come here and have a little explore. So, when does it start and how long does it run for?
So tomorrow, it opens tomorrow officially. The times are on the website, so we're open in the evening, people around work. Saturday, club shop. Obviously, on match days, it'll be open, so people will be able to come down and take it in. So it's going to be open as well. It's Euros, we've got 4 matches starting next week, which is really exciting. And then it'll stay here as this room until the end of August. So I think we've got 3 games in August at home, something like that. So it'll stay till the end of August, and then the room will get repurposed for another project that we're involved in because we never stop, as you know. So we've got another project, but everything will be on display. I've been speaking, like I say, to Tony today about how we potentially incorporate it into developments around the stadium. So we will make sure that the walls and everything sort of stay the same. But the artifacts and everything, some of it will have to go back to the owners and be loaned. But we will find a way of making sure it's on display. Yeah, see it. It's really exciting areas that we're on the way with.
I like the idea of a memorabilia bar personally. In one of the corners, memorabilia bar. I believe our next segment on a player is the Dogger Saints podcast. So we're talking to them about the new signing, Jamie McCart.
Hey, another Danny from the Dogger Saints podcast, St Johnstone supporter. Danny, thank you for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure, Matt. Absolute pleasure.
So first question is, people may have been expecting a Scottish accent to tell us about a St Johnstone's player. It wasn't, was it?
No, this is why Sam was going to do this, my co-host. So I don't want to let the people down. So unfortunately, I ended up with a Lancashire accent. So if everyone's still tuned in at this point, appreciate it. No, I moved up to Perth. I studied in Dundee and then got a job in Perth, and that was a bit of quite a long time now. But I think we'll never go back down south, back down Blackpool, when I'm originally from. My dad seems to say that my accent's got stronger, like my Lancashire accent. So I'm obviously overcompensating somewhere along the line.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're here to talk about Jamie McCart, Miller's recent centre-back signing from Scotland. And we were talking before. I'm interested to know a bit more about him because the signing came out of blue, which meant we weren't had a chance to much research. What type of player is he first? We know he's a central defender. Is he a ball player? Is he a towering centre half? Is he a big man? What type of centre half is he?
He doesn't look like your big man centre half. I think that's what I would say. He doesn't look like your dominating, towering centre half. That's sort of more to what he's leaning towards. He's really good in the air. He loves a header. He loves a tackle. Fond of missed time in the odd one in big European games, but move on. That was only once. But he loves a tackle. I genuinely think he's got more to give in terms of the ball playing. Because it seems to, if you boys really like long, if Rotherham fans as a collective like long diagonals out to the right wing, then play you in for a treat.
Yes, get in.
After your whole lives. That's his out ball, and he overuses it, in my opinion. Because I think he is better than that. I think he could do more. Maybe that is just what he's been told to do, which wouldn't surprise me. And maybe that's something he could be encouraged to do a little less of, play the ball out a little bit more. Because he has got it in him. He's not a bad footballer at all. But it was weird because the great back three of 2 seasons ago was Jason Kerr, who was our captain at the time. He was obviously now at Wigan. You might be more familiar with him. Obviously got promoted with you guys last season. I've got promoted alongside you guys, I should say. So Jason Kerr was like the ball playing centre half. He was a midfielder when he first started, moved backwards, and he's just brilliant. And Liam Gordon, who was the captain at Saints now, he's a great lad, and he's a proper Perth boy, died in the Wall Saints fan. But he can't play football. He's not what you would call a ball playing centre half, but he's brilliant. He's a traditional centre half, and he's really good at it. And then McCart was a funny one because he was somewhere in the middle. Because it looked like not a towering presence, looked like he should be able to play football, but he was generally he was really good because he was left-footed. Yeah. Which was handy for playing long diagonals out to Sean Rooney. But actually, it was more towards winning headers, putting tackles in. So I think there is something more work, and he's young enough. That's one thing I would say.
Yeah. You say mid-time tackle. Is he prone to a mistake? I know defenders at this level, when they come to us, we're not expecting the finished article or perfect player. But has he got a clanger in him?
Not like an obvious clanger. What I will say for him is he was the victim of some of the all-time worst refereeing decisions I've seen in my life last season. He had one hit in the face. Yeah, mate. If you're wanting a Jonah, mate, that's you've probably got one. He had one that hit him in the face from 2 yards away against Hibs last season.
Oh God!
He got sent off. No, he didn't get sent off for that. No, he got booked for that, and then he got sent off about 2 minutes later because he was still absolutely furious and sarcastically applauded the linesman. And then he had one at Aberdeen where he's won the ball with the forward about 2 yards still away from the ball, and a penalty got given.
Oh God!
So he was the victim of some poor decisions last season, but yeah, I think the point I'm probably trying to get here is if you get McCart who's switched on, because most of his mistakes last season came probably through lapses in concentration. I think if you get the McCart who's switched on, so the McCart 2 seasons ago during the double, and he was brilliant. Like 2 cup finals, he was absolutely outstanding. He was probably our best player on the park against Hibs in the Scottish Cup final, and he was brilliant against Livingston in the League Cup final. I think what happened last summer, and we actually ended up having a big argument about this on the sort of wider Dogger Saints group chat last night, because some of us were inclined to the way what I'm about to say, others weren't inclined towards this way of thinking. He got his head turned last summer.
Right.
Hibs came in for him. He got his head turned. And then I think just from there, so he got off to a slow start. And then from there, the team started losing because, don't get me wrong, he was not the only player who underperformed last season. You're just losing games constantly. I think his confidence dropped a little bit. And so then because his confidence dropped, he was sort of, you could tell at times he wasn't entirely all there. And also, the fact is one of the boys who's actually a journalist for the Herald, he came out and he said, you know, for a lot of these guys that probably weren't ever expected to do anything in the game, they did something that only 4 Scottish clubs have ever done.
Yeah.
And 2 of them were, Celtic and Rangers, obviously, and the other one was Aberdeen under Alex Ferguson. Yeah. So it's then like these sort of like bunch of free transfers and you know guys coming up through youth system and they've gone and done that. So and then to go back from that down to scrapping relegation, a lot of heads dropped and maybe a little bit of disillusionment. So I actually think you probably are going to get the McCart of the Jamie McCart of the double season, because when he was immense. So if he's switched on, because he'll like the new challenge at all. He'll be up for proving himself in the English Championship. So yeah, I think he'll be. I think that's. I would imagine and I'd hope that you will probably see less of those, just like letting crosses go by him and stuff like that. It's just daft stuff because he's looking the other way.
I wouldn't allow that.
Yeah.
He'll only do it once.
Yeah. Well, I say we've got Woody in the centre of 3, who's the most experienced guy, almost at Championship. So that I assume that'll help him concentrate and make sure he keeps his head on. Hopefully.
Do you play in a 3?
Yeah. We did last season. I assume we're going to do the same again.
Well, I was thinking that because those were one of my questions. I have no idea what he's like in a 4 because he was signed. He signed for Saints in January 2020, and obviously we all know what happened very shortly after. So, but at the time, did play with four at the back on the old manager Tommy Wright, and he got the odd game here and there. I think he was more being sort of primed for the next season. But by that point, Tommy had gone. Callum Davison, still manager now, had come in. And every single game's been, we're back 3. So, yeah, it fit in nicely.
Yeah.
That's good. There's a couple of points that really matter. I don't know whether you're going to pick up on it or not. One is this ball that's at right, because we our eyes lit up when you talked about that, because we have got absolute pace to burn down that right hand side. I mean, it is just ridiculous. Both from just all the way down that right hand side. So that's one thing. That's a good thing. The bad thing, obviously, bearing in mind if he has bad luck with referees, we're going to be in trouble because we're in Championship, and the standard of refereeing in the Championship is as bad as any league that I've ever seen. So we're going to.
You'll be accustomed to it because it's not great up here.
Yeah.
I did watch quite a lot of the Championship towards the end of last season. So watching sort of running and then the playoffs and all that. So there was something comfortingly familiar about. It's just like watching every week. Like I say, if you've got pace down the right, if those balls make it, then you're in business, because he will try it over and over and over.
Yeah, why not? With chills lightning.
You got it.
Yeah. Mick, Danny, is there anything else you want to ask? I don't know anything much else if you want to ask, but Floor's open, boys.
Not for me. The whole sort of circumstances surrounding this transfer were just a complete shock to us. Nobody saw it coming. I mean, we've virtually all our podcasts for the last 2 or 3 weeks have revolved around this rumour, that rumour, the other rumour. Some ridiculous, some turn out to be accurate, but mainly ridiculous. And this wasn't even anywhere close to being on anybody's radar, which I like. We like this kind of transfer.
Can't get his own then. It's a funny one because obviously we signed him from us technically, but you haven't because he was a free transfer. He was in that contract. So we knew he was going, really. We had 4 pretty key players run out of contracts after the playoff final, the second leg. And it was, so there's Xander Clark, who's a goalkeeper, who hasn't gone anywhere yet, but he's on honeymoon. So that's probably why. Okay. And then the other ones are Hendry. Hendry's gone to Salford, and Rooney, who obviously was linked to you guys last summer, Rooney's gone to Fleetwood. That would have been a lot more fun for you if you signed in. If you signed that lunatic, that would have been. But you know what? In a different world, it would have come off because I think the reason Rooney didn't go, he basically got begged to stay because we were saying with McCart actually last summer. He got begged to stay because he knew we're never going to keep all Jason Kerr and Ali McCann. Just knew it was never going to happen. So I think particularly with McCart at that point, and certainly with Rooney, I think had all 4 of them go, then there would have just been an absolute riot. They would have all kicked off. It was bad enough. And we sold them 2 with like 5 minutes of the deadline to go. I think McCart was another one who got coerced into staying last year. But honestly, Rotherham didn't ever seem really on the radar. We did, as you do in a small town, and the club rumours fly about. I mean, it looked like Hibs again. Really, looked pretty likely. The maddest rumour was last. He's going to play in the English Championship. Nearly ended up in the Scottish Championship. He was apparently pretty close to signing a pre-contract in January with Dundee, who we were in a relegation scrap with at the time. They were technically our local rivals. Even though that's one side, because Dundee's got 2 clubs and Perth's got we're in the same region. But we like to call it a local derby just because it really winds both of them up. Like nobody actually thinks it's a derby in there. It absolutely makes the head explode. I
love that.
So if you want a bit of fun, just check the fixture list. When Saints playing either the Dundee teams, just start wiring in about it being a derby. He was rumoured to be. I think they were buzzing the league at that point, and then they made a few bad decisions and wound up well cut adrift. But he was on the brink of going to Dundee on a pre-contract. So it would have been interesting for him if he'd stayed for the rest of the season. Because what normally happens is it's not so much commonplace in England, but in Scotland it's quite commonplace. You use the pre-contract agreements as almost a bargaining chip in the January window. It's like, right, we signed him on a pre-contract agreement, and then the club who's got the player, they're like, well, he's not going to turn up for us for the rest of the season. Give us basically a token fee. And you can have him now. So it would have been interesting on the card, whether it was actually close or whether it was just whether it was a bit pie in the sky. And I think he was a bit disillusioned at Saints at that point. So whether it was just trying not ruffle a few friends, that's the wrong way of putting it. Whether he was just trying to put his name out there, really, I don't know.
So thank you very much to the Dog of Saints podcast for that. Interesting chat, Ben. I'm going to ask Mick because Ben probably didn't listen. Interesting chat particularly about McCart, because he's the one we didn't know anything about coming in. And St Johnstone's fans seems to have used the diagonal ball from left to right as a bit of a slight to him, but I'm fine with that.
Hey, listen, like we said to him, we've got pace to burn down that right hand side. Just keep knocking it down there, mate, and we'll keep knocking it in. Yeah, I mean, clearly he's a youngish lad.
Yeah.
So, and he's got a lot about him. There's no doubt about that. I know a lot of other clubs have been interested in him, both this season and in the past. So, I mean, the surprise for me really was just how far out of left field it came. You know what I mean? And how well it had been kept a secret, which I like.
Yeah, we didn't mention the Tom Eaves chat, Danny, because we'll look around here. But again, the Tom Eaves stuff that's been said ticks a lot of boxes. If you give him a chance, he's got a chance to score it. He was very, very hard working. That's what we want, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. We've definitely signed a few players that are definitely hard working and they're definitely up for it. Interesting one with Tom Eaves. I've been doing a little bit of looking into it, and Hull's turnover of play over the last couple of seasons has been quite quick. You go one end, lose the ball, straight back down the other end, sort of thing. Not much chance creation in terms of out widening into the box, which is effectively how we scored half of our goals, more or less, last season. So I know a few people on Twitter have poo-pooed the whole thing about Tom Eaves wanting 20 goals this season, but I have to say between 10 and 15, I'm earmarking him between 10 and 15 for next season, because he's a sort of player who thrives on the ball into the box and potentially even the second ball and getting a bit of power onto it. Because if you watch his Hull goals, he can generate. I said this on the chat with the Hull podcast. He can generate power out of nothing in the box. He's got a cracking header on him, because two of his goals against us in the FA Cup were headers. And I believe he is at least 2 inches taller than Michael Smith. I think so, because we made the joke about Michael Smith being 6'3" when he was 6'4". I think Tom Eaves is just a little bit taller, because when you see him at the training ground, he's huge. He's massive.
He's a unit.
Yeah, he's massive. So I'm looking forward to watching him play as centre forward.
My understanding is the same size as Smith. It's just that daft top knot that makes him a bit higher. So, I mean, if he's going to stay at Rotherham, I think that's something that we need to address.
Don't knock the daft
just
top
my view.
knot. He might score with it.
I'm not jealous.
Ryan Williams had a top knot, didn't he?
I rest my case.
Yeah, he's saying he's being big and hard now, but if Tommy ever comes on podcast, he'll be really back in money.
I'm out of here. I'll be long gone.
It'll be like, hello, mate.
Do you know at Parkgate tomorrow?
Oh, me and my mouth.
You go, Tom.
Hiya, mate.
But Ben, they seem like good signings. The signings as a whole, the 4 signings that were there, obviously cricket last Friday, Connor Washington, McCart, Eaves, and Kyoso. They're all really exciting signings. We know we're not done, but the business so far is very solid.
Yeah, they all look like well, I mean, this recruitment team is obviously a good recruitment team, as shown in the past. Yeah, they are really exciting players. They all look like they could be competing for starting spots, which is always it's always good to have healthy competition. So yeah, they are very exciting, because they're all players where they're all not star signings, but squad signings. Do you know what I mean? They're not coming in, they're not coming in to develop for a couple of years. They're coming in to compete and hopefully start.
I think with the signings so far, they're not quite outstanding players in their own individual right, but they add elements to the team which we'll see us improve. Like with Tom Eaves and his attacking threat, Kyoso, and his pace down the right hand side, which probably will push Chio further forward. Washington and his work rate, again, not quite a goal scorer, but from what Charlton fans have said, it's his work rate. And then McCart, defensively solid, and he's got a fair ping out to the right hand side. So again, not individual brilliance, but as a whole, it should see us improve, which I think is a great thing to see.
Yeah, it's I'm excited, big. I'm not gonna lie. So I'm going to counter that. It's the first pre-season game on Friday, hoping for better weather than we've got on Thursday evening. But the question is, Mick, I know the transfer business isn't done. If we play a back 3 tomorrow, who are you going to play?
Well, I don't know, because I'm not manager.
You got your boots ready?
I've got my boots ready just in case.
I thought you'd always signed for Wednesday.
I have, but I'm going to now just cause a few issues from a Wednesday point of view and see if I can get him into trouble for playing a player that's played for another team or so. I don't know. I'll do some. I don't know what I'm talking about. What question? Centre back. Woody.
Yeah, but what? Just wondering. The question is because normally against Parkgate you would get to see a full 11 swap.
Yes.
We're going to see some kids, aren't we?
Of course we are. Yeah. Of course we are. I don't think. Well, I'm not even going to say that you can't read anything into it because you can't. I mean, that's the most stupid thing I've probably ever said on this podcast, isn't it? And that's going some.
I forgot my flag answer.
Yeah. Transfer business is not over. Transfer window is not shut for a long time. Particularly bearing in mind how early the season starts and therefore how early pre-season starts. There'll be more incomings, and we haven't even touched at the loan market yet. We haven't even looked at the loan market because that's not really going to get going probably until even the week that the season starts or after that. So there'll be more incomings. Clearly, there'll be more incomings, and you never know. You never know. So if a trialist is playing tomorrow, that might not be a trialist. Who knows?
Yeah.
I can give you a full 11 if you want for the Parkgate game.
Well, you can do it. It's going to change at half time.
Well, I'll give you the starting.
Go on, and give us the starting 11.
All right, so this will be my starting 11. So, one, if you're listening, I'm sorry if I've got it dead on. So, Vickers in goal to start. Harding, Wood, and McCart as your back three. Barlaser and Rathbun as your more off midfielders. Kioso on the right, Ferguson on the left. Benny and Wiles further forward, Eaves up front as your centre forward.
What I would say to that is, if you read Tommy's interview with the Yorkshire Post, he's told the Yorkshire Post that we're expected to play with a 2 up top.
Yeah.
So that may pay to the Wiles and Chio further forward.
Yeah.
Because you can't play that and then a 2. It might have given the game away a bit there.
Wait, you're going to play Chio up top?
Could play Chio up top, yeah. I suppose that's an option. I don't know.
We did last year for a couple of games, didn't we?
He only played up top as a second striker. It never worked.
No, it didn't.
No.
But then for Ireland, he plays as almost a striker, and it works.
Yeah.
But that's more of a 3 in it, more than a 2.
Yeah.
I think with that formation, you can have Wiles dropping back into midfield and then
True.
potentially Benny as second striker. But if we use that system, you could bring Washington on as well, or Kelly as well. I'm excited to see Kelly in pre-season, in all honesty.
Give more than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
He don't need more than 10 minutes.
So one thing I mentioned is Will Grigg. We should, because it's been popped up. He's training with McDonald's down here at the minute. MK Dons. Let's get it right. Professional.
Nah.
Can you read anything into that? The fact he's training with it. We know he's local to there anyway. So can you read anything into it? It doesn't strike me as an MK Dons player, to be honest with you.
I mean, he lives round Coventry way and he does have a good relationship with that club. And he's been doing his rehab in Burton, so it's all round that little area. So I think he's just found a club that he gets on with. He gets on with most people there, and they've said, "You want to come and do your pre-season stuff with us?" And he's agreed. So he's gone on his little tour of Ireland with them. And in all honesty, I'm not sure what's happening with Griggy. We might be looking elsewhere with him. He might be coming on trial. I'm not sure. But yeah, I wouldn't read too much into it. If MK do sign him, then fair enough.
Yeah.
But I think Griggy could end up anywhere. To be fair.
Yeah, I probably agree with that. Ben, are you excited to go back to football?
Very excited. It's been a boring month or whatever, 2 months. Very boring.
It's been 2 months, yeah.
There's no NFL either. It's been boring.
It's been cricket, but anyway.
But come on.
Yeah, it'd be a different atmosphere than Gillingham, though, won't it?
It won't be. It'll hardly be Gillingham away. It's football. So.
Kelly scores on the pitch.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now, the head groundsman at Roundwood will kill me if I chant that at Roundwood. I'll tell you.
Don't forget. Danny painted the goalposts at Parkgate. So we want your pictures. We want your selfies with the goalposts. Don't get on the pitch, obviously. We want your pictures and selfies with those goalposts. Send them. What's your Twitter name?
At Danny Glaves.
At Danny Glaves. Send them all down at Danny Glaves. RUFC_pod. We want your selfies with the goalposts for absolutely no reason other than it's funny.
I'll start the ball rolling tomorrow at work.
We'll finish off with the latest bit of news is that we're going to Croatia and we're playing Fleetwood.
We are.
Yeah. I don't think we've been invited actually.
Oh.
On the word.
I thought that was an end of podcast surprise. I at first thought they would rush through my mind where I hadn't brought my passport.
I'm screwed.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Rotherham are going to Croatia. and it's been confirmed we're going to play Fleetwood in a pre-season friendly. That puts pay to your guessing game who we were going to play, which Croatian team we were going to play, Danny. You did all that hard work to research all these Croatian teams.
I'm annoyed. Did all this research. Right, who plays in Croatia first division, who plays in Croatian second division? We might play them because they've been promoted from third, whatever, backwoods division or whatever, and we're playing Fleetwood. So, yeah, everyone had to go on that. You've lost, unfortunately. Apart from Will Barber, who did say that we might be playing an English team, so I think
close enough.
Close enough. I can't remember who he predicted exactly. I think he went for Crawley or something like that. But again,
closer than
yeah, same energy, isn't it? But yeah, playing Fleetwood, and hopefully it's third time lucky and we actually beat him this time.
Yeah. It's behind closed doors, so even if you go to Croatia, you can't watch it.
Hopefully it's on our follow though.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll stream it or something. Depends on facilities out there. I think that's it. Any other topics, questions, comments, queries that anybody wants to put? Oh, yeah. Correct. Danny, the charity game is only 2 weeks away. 2 weeks away this Saturday, which, as Ian Bramley, do you want to give us a bit more detail? Because we're going to plug this up next week. This is Rotherham Hospice, so we're going to plug it.
Yeah, so July 16th at Flash Lane in Bramley, myself and a few other people have organised a charity game, raised money for Rotherham Hospice. I think it's we've got 15 for each team so far, which is decent numbers. It will be rolling subs because we're all unfit. But yeah, I think kickoffs at 12, I think, or at least it starts at 12. I'll have to double check that and get back to you on the next podcast. But something very, very special has arrived today after waiting more than a week to get it and forking out a little bit of money out of my own pocket. So it's not out of the hospice fund or anything like that. It's out of my pocket, out of my new fresh wages. And it is this little beauty. Yeah, a bit of silverware. This is the match winner trophy for the game. It says the Rotherham Hospice Charity Cup on the little engraving. I did spot at the cricket that they had something similar. That's engraved with the teams. This one isn't, you see. Quick disclaimer. The reason it's only got red ribbon on it and not red and white, it's going to not have any white. Okay. It will be on the final product, don't worry. We've also got winning manager trophies and player of the match and winning captains and stuff like that. But we're playing for this now, this nice piece of silverware.
What you could do, I don't know if anybody will notice, you'll switch out for Papa John's that's behind you.
Jamie, have you got the key? Weighs about the same as well.
Yeah, so if you haven't got on that, Mick and Daniel were there as well. Mick and Ben were there as well on that day as well.
Yeah.
So you can laugh at them. You got a ref?
We do. The lad I mentioned earlier.
Could have got Mick
in 10 minutes.
Mick, can you run the lines? We're looking for a linesman.
I can run line, mate. Yeah, no problem.
There we go.
I would like to point out, I've seen Mick run the line before, and he's not very good.
I don't know what you mean by that. But,
you can run white team half second.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. Let me be perfectly honest. I do understand my own limitations. I know when I come up short.
Right.
Knowing rules is one of them.
Anyway, thank you for all that have tuned in tonight. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. We're coming up to 650. I think we've got to thank the Wednesday fans for that one, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, at least we've got something out of them. The problem is that with Sheffield Wednesday podcast, it's going to go down by 150 because they're going to come and nick them all.
You pay them a bit extra.
Yeah.
And especially if they're called Mick.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Moment of Truth podcast not out yet. We will review that when it's out. I don't know what the delay has been. There's some sort of clash with the BBC or something. But that'll be out. So we'll review that whenever that's out. iTunes subscribe, Spotify subscribe. Anything else?
I've got one more thing. It's just an interest thing more than anything else. It's how you're going to get to that computer to put the closing credits on without looking like you're a fool bending down.
Well, while I thank Jamie again for letting us come in here, I'm going to let you walk to the screen and press the buttons. You always do the outro. Thank you again to Jamie and the Rotherham United Community Sports Trust for letting us come to this pop-up exhibition, which goes live on Friday. Let's see the opening times on the website and the tweet. We'll tweet everything out as well. And do come down because it is brilliant. So you should definitely come down and have a look because Ben
highly recommends it.
Yes. There we go.
We'll see you all next time. Thank you.
Ciao.
Credits on one-on-one. Credits fairly shoot. Could play that shot.
Unbelievable! neighbours.